Are bees the most metal animal in nature? I mean, what other animals sacrifice their own lives just to deliver a bit of pain? Today's video explores everything you've ever wanted to know about bees. We'll be paying special attention to bee stings, why bees sting, and why the truth behind why stinging could cost a bee its life. Let's get started. Bee 101. The term bee refers to many more species than most people know. Bees are classified under the Hymenoptera order of insects, alongside wasps, ants, and sawflies. Defining characteristics for this order are narrow waists and large abdomens. There are over 20,000 bee species in the world, distributed among 7 families. Together, they form a superfamily called Apoidea. All 20,000 species have a lot of shared characteristics. Firstly, all of them fly thanks to 2 pairs of translucent wings attached to the thorax. Flight is essential for many bee tasks: accessing flowers for nectar or pollen, building and accessing hives, and fighting rivals and predators. Secondly, all bees are fuzzy little critters. They are covered in hairs known as setae that play a few important roles. The setae trap pollen onto a bee's body, which helps it transport pollen from flower to flower and ultimately cause pollination. Trapped pollen can also feed larvae or other bees back at the nest or hive. Setae also play a sensory role. The hairs on a bee's antennae are so sensitive they can detect subtle air movements caused by sonic vibration. This means a bee can hear sound using the hairs on its head. Other classic bee traits include mixed coloration and pronounced abdomens. Most bees are yellow or orange mixed with brown or black, but other species can have other cool colors like blue or red. The common belief among experts is that bees have vibrant coloration to warn other animals of their potential to sting. Large abdomens are typical Hymenoptera traits that provide balance and facilitate things like laying eggs and, in some cases, stinging. All bees live mainly on nectar and pollen. Nectar is a great source of energy-giving sugar, while pollen provides protein and other vital nutrients. Bees rarely prey on other animals, but some species like the bumblebee have been found to be fond of scavenging rotting flesh. Despite their many similarities, bees also have some differences. For starters, most bee species are actually solitary and only hang out with other bees during breeding seasons. Solitary bees live in small nests or burrows in the ground. They are solely responsible for their well-being and the well-being of their larvae. Mason and carpenter bees are 2 notable examples. A notable few are social and form colonies that collaborate to build hives and rear young. Colonies of up to 80,000 bees revolve around a single queen, whose job is to mate with drones and lay eggs. Worker bees are responsible for tending to the queen's larvae, building the hive, and defending it. Honeybees and bumblebees are some of the most prominent social examples. Bees also have a significant size range. The smallest species can only grow to 2 millimeters in body length, while the largest can reach 45 millimeters. However, there is one difference that is of particular interest for today's video. Some bees sting and others do not. Most species are equipped with special stingers located at the end of the abdomen. The stinger is technically a modification of the 3 hindmost segments of the abdomen. Stingers are primarily used as a defensive measure, but some bees occasionally use them on offense when hunting. Wasps are far more likely to use their stingers for offense than bees. However, we also have about 500 or so species that do not have stingers. These stingless bees, or meliponines, are classified in their own subtribe called Meliponini. The name stingless is a bit misleading though. They actually do have stingers, but these are too small and weak to be used as weapons. Stingless bees often rely on other tricks like large mandibles, smells, or sticky substances to defend themselves. There are also some interesting things about stinging bee species. The first is that only females can sting. The stinger is formed within the ovipositor, the canal females use to lay eggs. Males do not have an ovipositor and are therefore incapable of having stingers. So if you're ever curious about whether you're looking at a boy bee or a girl bee, getting stung is the quickest way to find out. The other difference is that some bees can sting repeatedly and move on with their lives, while others can only sting once and die soon after. Why do bees die after stinging? Let's start by looking at which bees actually die when stinging, because it's not all of them. The only bees that die after stinging are honeybees. Honeybees belong to the Apis genus, and the most common species is the European honeybee, also known as Apis mellifera. In total, there are between 7 and 12 honeybee species in the world. These bees use their hollow stingers like hypodermic needles, injecting venom into victims and causing cell damage. However, the structure of the stingers means that once deployed, there is literally no way back. You see, a honeybee stinger has a series of serrations, or barbs, along its length. These barbs point upwards so they can hook onto flesh and cause greater damage if the victim or bee attempts to pull the stinger out. It's kind of like a barbed fishhook or harpoon. When stinging, the rows of barbs slide up and down to dig as far into the victim as possible. And as we've already said, once the stinger is in, not even the bee itself can pull it out scot-free. If a bee tries to pull the stinger out, it will tear open its own abdomen and rip out its innards, glands, digestive organs, and muscles. The rupturing also leads to a loss of hemolymph, which works like our own blood. Naturally, losing innards and lifeblood is fatal, and the bee dies soon after stinging and detaching from its sting. The detached sting remains impaled in the victim and is usually still attached to the venom sac. Muscles around the venom sac keep pumping the bee's poison into the victim's system, and the stinger itself keeps stinging well after the bee dies. The venom also contains strong pheromones that attract other members of the stinging bee's hive. The pheromones alert the other bees that there is a potential sting-worthy threat in the area. The other bees respond quickly to locate the stinger and their fallen comrade. If they find the threat and judge it as so, these other bees will not hesitate to sting as well. So why do honeybees sacrifice themselves like this? Well, for the good of the hive. A beehive, though made up of many individuals, is so cohesive and in sync that the bees are like a single organism. Worker bees, which are the ones you are most likely to run into or get stung by, are the epitome of commitment and loyalty. On top of their duties of finding food and constructing hives, workers are also soldiers. They are more than ready to lay their lives down in defense of their hive and their queen. Other stinging bees, like bumblebees, do not die after stinging. Like wasps, these bees have smooth, barb-free stings that can inject venom and retract without getting caught in a victim's flesh. This means they can sting you multiple times or sting multiple victims in quick succession. Conclusion. That brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you learned a thing or two. We hope you take the time to like the video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button. Also, hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on more cool animal content. Bye for now.